creepy guy by the pool is all like, "Don't go to that party. You'll just regret it. It's a real boring, really, really boring. I know that guy."
He was really
And she's all like,
convincing,
"What?"
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I doubt
I
there's
guess
much
he
you can
kind of
say to
tries
be
a little
creepy.
bit.
I doubt there's much you can say when you're the creepy guy in a lawn chair that would.
You
convince
could be like, oh, I
Yeah.
love those parties. Do you know how much organ harvesting they do there?
So American Vampire, kind of interesting like setup where it is set in two time periods, the 1920s and 1909. I think is which when it's set.
Well, it was also.
Well, it starts in. I thought it was. Oh, was it? Okay, I may have been confused on that. There's some time jumping, but not a time travel story. But okay, so the more modern story is written by Scott Snyder, and then the older storyline is written by Stephen King. And so it's kind of I had never or have never read a book that is like has had multiple authors, but like the writing is so clearly delineated between this is what this person did, this is what this person did, and here is the result of plugging those together.
Yeah. You know, I read the intro and it kind of made me a little mad. Cause
The little Stephen
for
King
one
blurb?
thing, yeah,
Yeah, I read that too.
yeah. Because it was like, you're gonna come in here and basically like, trash like not just Twilight, which was like, at the height of its popularity when this came out,
right,
but like, just a bunch of other like inventive vampire series and be like, we're going back to basics, but then have like a vampire human romance, b have like a bunch of like new and interesting lore, and it's like you're doing the exact same thing that you're calling out these other stories for doing.
And oh wait, a vampire that can walk in the sun? Oh man, I think we've seen that before, haven't we?
Daywalkers.
Yeah, Blade.
There's literally a word for it already. That's sometimes used for humans.
Yeah, Stephen King is just like that sometimes. There's not really a defense for it.
Yeah. And then on top of that, he basically admits that like Scott Snyder basically wrote the outlines for the stories that he wrote. And I'm like,
yeah, but
so how much did you really do?
But he said
I
I added some bells and whistles.
When we get there, I can pick out some specific Stephen King influences, and like it's one of those things where like once you have like done enough about an author, like you can see the signatures, and then you can't miss them again.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm all like, I feel like you're taking a little bit too much credit and just giving this book some clout by having your name on it.
Yeah, I mean that's
whatever. If that's the
fair.
deal they wanted to make.
I mean, yeah, I guess they could have gotten his son, who did Lock and Key, and so like he's already kind of a name in like the comics industry, but I guess they got his dad instead. That's fine.
Yeah. Man, that would be so weird if like, I don't even know what I would be doing, but if I was doing some sort of professional job and then like they're like, I guess we'll get his dad.
That reminds me of my physics professor. He was like, oh yeah, my dad is like a big name in physics. Like he has some kind of theory named after him. I'm like, does that make you feel bad? I'm like,
Yeah, I do feel bad. Like, I mean, yeah, like
Oh
it's.
my God.
I feel bad for Joe Hill is his name now, but it's like your dad is one of the most commercially successful authors of all time, and so like you also have that creative muscle, but like you distance yourself as much as you can while still doing storytelling by like becoming a comics artist or a comic writer, and then your dad also comes in and also writes a comic.
Just like walks in, looks at your work. I think I can do that, and then goes and does it.
It does it with Scott Snyder, one of the other biggest names in the industry.
Yeah.
And also, his name was originally Joe King, so his name was Joe King.
Right, I forgot about that.
So yeah, I feel bad for Joe Hill.
All you are to me is a joke.
He had to have realized that when he was like naming his kid.
I mean, yeah.
He's literally an author. He has to think about his character names all the time.
Yeah,
maybe he planned like he was like, okay, I'm the horror writer, I'm going to birth children that do other genres, and so the plan was for him to be a comedy writer.
And his only hint to him was his name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, enough Stephen King fan fiction.
Yeah, like maybe I'm projecting on like what happened, but it does seem like really easy to connect those dots in that way.
So anyway, the story opens in 1925 of the night in July.
Yeah. Also, I guess I should say too that I have some criticisms about this book more so than praise. Like that doesn't mean that I thought that it was like totally terrible, but there's just like some things that bothered me.
I mean, we talked about I think we talked about last week already that, I remember liking this as a teenager. But I also do remember the parts I hated then, and I still hate them. And wow, do I hate them.
Yeah, I had not read this previously, and so I don't know. It kind of was like meh.
I think when you're a teen, you've only read so much, so you forgive a lot of little things because you're like, at least I like this part. And then, like, when you get older, you're like, they could have just not written that.
Oh wait! I think I know which part you're talking about. I don't know.
It's
Yeah, no, that part. Yeah. No, surprisingly for me, what I remember is actually having like less comics literacy when I was a teen, and so like this book was a little bit less confusing this time, just like as far as like order of events.
Yeah, I do remember it being like a very confusing read, and also like I didn't remember a whole lot of it. All I remembered was like that I was confused, so I kind of expected like a lot more like trickery going on. Turns out I was just kind of dumb.
Can't wrap your mind around it.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
mean, really, it was
opposite.
the time jumps that confused me.
I was going to say, like, the time jumps when I was younger, I would just went with the flow. I wasn't, like, taking in too much of the information. I was just like, this is cool. Now they're fighting. And now I'm like, oh, man, they're back? And then they're forward?
Yeah. But the thing that I was gonna mention. So, go ahead, Ty.
No, I was moving on.
Okay, I was just gonna say that basically, I feel like the 1925 people. I mean, obviously wasn't there, but feel like the dialogue could have been written a little bit more to, the way that people talked then. Based on what I've heard from like movies and stuff, which like maybe it's like the dinosaurs and like that's just made up. by Hollywood. We don't know how they sounded.
Gotcha. No, I think that
But-
Stephen King did a better job at making the characters sound how they would talk. Because if what we're saying is correct, that Stephen King did the older storyline, I think they talked more. Or I guess really I should say more like Skinner, Wheat, talked more like,
Mm-hmm.
or used more of the lingo of that time.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Anyway, though, so book opens with some dead women. They
Being
are
like dumped off in the desert somewhere.
yeah.
Or, well, in 30 miles east of Los Angeles, somewhere.
I mean, it looks like a desert as how it's portrayed.
It's Los Angeles at that time period, so
Mhm.
it's just the middle of the desert.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then it
But yeah,
jumps
one
to
of
3
those-
days ago, and
But first, one of those corpses say that I'm alive.
oh yeah, that's right. Good point. And so we jump to 3 days ago, which is we have Hattie and
Pearl.
Pearl. Yeah, that's the main character.
Mhm.
Wow, I did not know that.
And they're
Look at me.
I just forgot. But yeah, they're actresses. They're extras though, and they're kind of poor. There's this creepy guy that's sitting out by their girls' home pool, but also like at least Hattie is like kind of attracted to him.
I mean, well, I guess later when he just like tips his hat, and then Pearl's like, "Oh darn it, why are they always so attractive?" I'm like,
Mhm.
Jesus,
Yeah.
it's just a hobo.
Yeah. And then Pearl works like 3 jobs. There's a
Match.
guitarist who works at the Huh?
She works as a matchstick. Well, I believe that's the phrase.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's true.
I didn't know
yeah.
they had a name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they reference it later in the book, too. But yeah, basically a guitarist that works at the club that she works at is all like, hey, you know, I keep asking you to go out with me and you keep saying no. Are you gonna keep saying no? And it's like, yikes, but that's also, I guess, the time, probably.
Can I
And
say
And
that
so they,
it's-
like...
I
Yeah.
mean, I was gonna say, like, I don't like the fact that so many of the characters look so similar to each other.
Yes.
That's really annoying.
So you think this guy, who is eventually to be named Henry, looks like Pearl?
No. All the dudes look pretty much similar,
Oh, okay.
and then all the girls look really similar. Like, later we see another girl who's part of the villains, Lucia, and she literally looks like Pearl with blonde hair.
Oh, no,
I can't.
I thought she looked like Hattie. But yeah, I see
Hattie-
your point.
Yeah, I just got the
He-
freckles.
He's more orange hair.
Well, Hattie at least has freckles, so like
Oh, okay.
delineates her face. But like when they have too much of the same face pattern shape,
Mm-hmm.
I just get confused. Like she could put on a hat and hide her hair, and I'd be like, "Oh, is that Pearl?"
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Same for the dudes.
And then back at their acting job, Pearl gets asked to read lines with the handsome main actor. And he's all like, hey, you're kind of cool. Come to this party that the producer is throwing later tonight. And then they're getting ready to go to that party, and then creepy guy by the pool is all like, "Don't go to that party. You'll just regret it. It's a real boring, really, really boring. I know that guy."
He was really
And she's all like,
convincing,
"What?"
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I
I
doubt
guess
there's much
he
you can
kind of
say to
tries
be
a little
creepy.
bit.
I doubt there's much you can say when you're the creepy guy in a lawn chair. That would
You
convince
could be like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
love those parties. Do you know how much organ harvesting they do there?" Like,
I
don't know.
still doubt that would convince anybody.
Yeah, then you're just the crazy
Yeah, probably not.
guy.
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit more convincing.
I mean, he could have tried harder, that's for sure. Than he
I
did.
think that says something about his character. Obviously, he's like, whatever, it's not me.